good evening, good evening, everyone. We have made it to yet another Sunday. I hope you are the type of person like me that is looking forward to live Sunday to Sunday. You are in a sense of dread right now because it's just like, oh, it's another Sunday. We're going to work on you. We go ahead and make sure everything is like it's supposed to be. Y'all know the universe be giving me a hard time. Hello, hello to all my people on IG. We are connected. We are doing this thing. Oh, it's working. Thank God. I'm just going to give y'all a disclaimer right here, right now, before I really get into it and before I really get started. Um, yeah, I've been trying to get better, period. Within this week alone, I have been battling, I don't know if it's a sinus infection, an upper respiratory infection, whatever the case may be. The first day I was dragging, it actually started on like Wednesday into Thursday. And like, I'm the type of person, I'll still push on, I'll still push forward. But I'm just not feeling the best physically right now. Everything else, that I've been sharing with you guys and that I've been working through in my own personal journey, everything is okay. All that stuff is good. And I don't know. For me, I guess it's kind of ironic because it never fails. And this is looking after, not before. But it never fails that when something, well, I'll put it like this, when the majority of things are going good for me, there's always one little thing that does not seem to want to fall into place with the rest of it. I'm just trying to live a harmonious life, an elevated life, an intentional life, but life decides it wants the life and it won't let me be. So if you are joining me tonight, either via Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, say what's up to your girl. I like to mix and mingle with my people. That's the whole purpose of me having this platform. That's the whole purpose of me doing this. I've been fortunate enough within the past couple of weeks to be able to have some really good conversations with people lately. And it's not necessarily people that are in my regular kind of social circle, I guess you'll say, but it's being out and about and, mixing and mingling in the opportunities that present themselves. But I've been fortunate enough to have some really good conversations about life and, where people are wanting to go and how they're seeing their own journeys. And yeah, I just like talking to people about those things because we don't have to hold so much in. Like, I ain't saying run out and tell everybody your business because we all know that ain't what it is. But I find it real interesting that um, some of the stuff that I've seen on IG lately and just social media, period, is just like, yeah, if you don't want people to know your business, keep people out of your business. No, if you don't want the wrong people to know your business, keep the wrong people out of your business. You have to have a trusted tribe of people that will help to see you through this thing called life. That was its original design. Like Adam and Eve, if y'all want me to take it back, I can take it back. Adam was in the garden by himself. God was like, yeah, no, he ain't got everything that he need. And this is my story. Don't judge me. This is how I choose to tell it. I'm just warming up the room. Uh, but yeah, God was like, no, he don't have everything that he need. He ain't capable of what it is that I see for him because he's alone. Trying not to burn myself. So I am going to give him a mate. Now, in that sense, it was a woman, but nowadays it's everyone. It's male, female, transgender, whatever the case may be. It's people connecting with people. Amazing. But to still hear people who have been jaded, who have been burnt, if you will, who have been uh, fumbled from other people being in their lives. Like, it is my hope that before the Lord calls me to that upper room, that I will actually be able to see a collection of people surrounding me that give me life, give me joy, give me hope, that are as committed to me as I am to them. For me, this is kind of me sharing with you guys some insight into what I'm looking forward to on the other side of my mind reset. I had put that question up earlier this afternoon. What is it that you're looking forward to? What is it that you're hoping to gain by engaging in a mind reset? If you are wanting to engage in a mind reset, I'm not saying everyone has to. I'm not saying if you don't do it, then something's wrong with you. Maybe you just haven't arrived at a place in your life where life has punched you enough times in the face to say, hey, we may need to look at this a little bit differently than the way we've looked at it before. We may need to start handling ourselves accordingly based on how certain things have transpired before with certain people, because it doesn't stop. You can't escape how people are. You don't fully know 100% how people are, but we're not here to talk about none of that. We're here to talk about you and how you are. How are you presenting yourself? What is the type of life that you want to live? Like, if your funeral was tomorrow, would you think people would say about you now? I'll give y'all a minute. All right, minute's up. If what you feel like people would say about you is not how you see yourself, or it is not the legacy that it is you feel like you want to leave for yourself, then I invite you to really sit with me, take advantage of this information about the mind reset, because today could be the first day of the rest of your life. And what I mean by that is when you get to a point to where you decide to switch things up, not necessarily because you've been hurt, not necessarily because um, someone did something to like really prompt you to do this. That could be the catalyst, but if that's the motivation, you'll never get to the point to where it is that you need to be. And you are the very person that I'm speaking to who needs to engage and explore doing a mind reset. Thoughts and beliefs are extremely powerful. Your beliefs will control the way you behave. I said this last week. We're doing a recap right now. Your beliefs will control the way you behave. Another way I can say that is your lack of belief will control, encourage the way you behave. Bible says, so a man thinketh, so shall he be. Your mind is what leads your body, your heart, your life. Like, everything flows forth from your mind. It is the gateway to the rest of your life. Maybe we need to get a new set of keys, and maybe we need to look at like behaving differently. Sorry, this is my little therapy pillow when I need some comfort, and I really need to get into what I'm saying. I use this in my own therapy sessions as well. But yeah, when you like really lock in with your beliefs, when you get real honest with yourself to say, you know what, I'll give you a prime example. Growing up, I really didn't have beliefs that pertain directly to me. I didn't know what to think about myself. I didn't know how to feel about myself. I didn't um, grow up having certain conversations about life, period. It's just, oh, don't do these things. We all know a girl don't have sex. Don't let these little boys talk you into doing anything. Okay, like, you're telling me the perspective of an external source. I'm not a boy. I am a boy, Damon. Sorry. I am not a male. So while you're telling me don't let them talk me into certain things, you're still forming a belief in my head that, oh, little boys will try to talk me into anything. But I don't need to be worried about those little boys. I need to be worried about my own beliefs. So now let's fast forward to 40-year-old Nicole. Yeah, I'm just now, unfortunately, really starting to get to the point to where I'm getting all the way 100 and honest about my beliefs, where they've come from, the influences that have shaped them to be the way that they are, my lack of belief. Like, I don't want people to get to this age because I'm not the type of person, I'm not set in my ways. I'm very adaptable. But because I've had so much of life that has gone on before this point, I do have to work that much harder to unlearn and unprogram myself to what I have experienced before, to now start to put in place what I need to be able to live the life that it is that I want to be able to live. Y'all, excuse me for a second. My turtles is in the bathroom going crazy. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. As I told y'all, y'all come each and every week into my real life. And yeah, so I put my turtles in the bathtub from time to time just to be able to give them more freedom and more space to roam around. And I drain the water out of the tub because it's time for them to go back in their tank. And yeah, they don't like that and was banging up against the tub. So that's the noise you heard in the background. But yeah, like, or if you don't lock in with your beliefs, you don't know the person that you're going to be at 40. Now that I have an opinion of who I am, what I believe, where it is I want to go, and the life that I want to live, like, I need to perform a mind reset to be able to get all the other muck, all the other foolishness, all the other old ways out of my life. And with that, I believe in having like permanent reminders of not going back on past ways. It's on my shoulder. You ever see me in a bathing suit or with a tank top on? You've seen it before, and I'm actually about to get it, touched up. I have a tattoo of the Egyptian god Anubis on my shoulder. I can see his ears, like right here. And I got that on purpose. I was intentional, and for me, that's a representation of Nicole. Forward, boo boo. We not going back to that foolishness no more. We not doing none of that. You know the person that you are. You know the resilience that you have. You know the strength that it took to get out of those experiences. Let that be where it is and let them people be where it is. And honestly, in my own personal life, I'm there now. As I said in last week's episode, part one, I'm in the in between. I know what the old looks like. I know what the hurt from that period of life looks like. But I'm not fully into my future yet on this side because I want to make sure that I am whole. I want to make sure that I am in my right mind. I want to make sure that I am healed and that I take the things with me that I have learned the old way, this old experience into the next one and not dragging one body to the next bed, not dragging one body to the next phase of my life. In this in between phase, I'm in a holding pattern. And honestly, y'all, the holding pattern for me is amazing. It's beautiful. Like, I was fearful, honestly, to get to this place. But now that I am here, I kid you not, anybody tries to mess with my peace, my healing, my journey, anything, it's on site for real. Because 99.9 of y'all do not know the full story of what it took me to get to this point. The ones that do, they're appreciative of the woman that I am on the other side. They know, hey, I was there. I ain't gonna play with her on that. Where she want to go is where she want to go. Cool. I can rock with that. So if you get in touch and in tune with your beliefs, you can control the way you behave. When you control the way you behave, this in turn can transform the way others will see you as well as the chances you take and the way you present yourself. So once you change your mind, you change your behavior and your actions. Once you change your behavior and your actions, that changes the way that other people see you. And that also changes the chances that you're willing to take into the next step and into the next phase of your life. With that, doing all of that, that will also alter the opportunities you get, the offers that come your way, and the things that you're able to accomplish. That's a basic way to describe the law of attraction. But before we can actually get into the law of attraction and how that works and how that presents itself in our lives, like we gotta tackle these limiting beliefs. Like I said, growing up, I didn't have certain conversations. I would say that I mostly went through life, not blindly going through life, but not as intentional about going through life as I am now. So now having to unpack all of the things that I'm having to unpack. One of the things I feel safe and secure about talking about is I don't even know if I can say I have or I had. I had experienced, I'll put it that way, abandonment issues. And I did not realize that I had those abandonment issues and where they originally came from until I got married and divorced. Yeah. And that's a difficult way and a difficult like period for it to happen, but I know for the type of person that I am and the life that I have lived, that is the only way that I would have been able to get that message. That is the only way that I would have been able to uncover, that information. But then it wasn't enough to understand that because of certain experiences within my marriage that led to the divorce, that I felt abandoned and left alone. I had to figure out, where did this all of a sudden come from? It's like I'm cool being by myself, and I'm cool in a relationship where, all right, you want to go hang with the fellas, go watch a game, whatever the case, hey, have at it, enjoy your time. I could be at the house or I can go with my girls, but was it's gonna be a conversation for another video. But it was a definitive moment in me arriving at this place where I am now. My abandonment issue lay dormant for so long that when it came about, it was instantly a limiting belief. I am a person who loves love. I am a person who wants to have a person to spend, not a person. I am a person who wants to have my person to spend the rest of my life with. But I thought I had that once before. And when it didn't look that way and I felt abandoned, it became a limiting belief. It's just like, okay, do I really want to engage in this again? Do I really want to give of myself again to somebody else? Am I willing to take that person, relatively for who they are? Because you shouldn't get into a relationship instantly wanting to change somebody. Now, if your energy naturally does that, by all means, that's the way that it should go. But yeah, it just came to the thing of like kind of me nitpicking and me discounting and disqualifying people, not even in a romantic setting, but just male energy, period. It's just like, yeah, no, I don't know if I'm on that. And I don't know if that's what I want to do at this moment. But all of that to say, that was a limiting belief that was holding me back. And it was preventing me from fulfilling the potential life that it is that I want to live. Um, Maybe you have some limiting beliefs. They may not be that extreme. You may not have done the work yet to quite figure out where they've come from, exactly what they are, and how they're hindering you. That's okay. That's a work in progress. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this talk at this time. But if you have limiting beliefs, just know you won't take the chances that you need to obtain the life that it is that you want to live, and you won't create or take advantage of the opportunities to invest in yourself. My therapist still wants me to do this mirror work exercise, and I have a limiting belief about why I don't want to do it. I am apprehensive of everything that is going to come out when I legitimately look at myself in the mirror. No music, no nothing, just me, my thoughts, and my eyes. hmm I can't 100% put my finger on what it is and why, it has me gripped the way that it does. Now, keep in mind, I started with this therapist. It was a birthday gift to myself back in February. So we've been rocking for a while. He knows my challenges. I won't call them issues because challenges can be overcome. He knows my challenges, and he's like, well, the fact that you even brought it up after so long of not talking about it, I'm okay with that because that lets me know that it's still in your mind, and that lets me know that that's still something that you need to work towards to be able to do. I agree with him. There has been a lot of progress, there has been a lot of work in my own life, but it's still from the aspect of me towards external sources, external people, external situations. I can handle that now, no problem. I'm like Wonder Woman with her cuffs on, like pew, pew, like, yeah. But when it comes to getting to the nitty gritty of Nicole LaTreece, y'all pray for me that I get ready for that sometime soon because I think that's the last thing to really unlock that cheat code to the rest of my life to where I can fully and finally get to where it is that I must be. So I'm going to have some mirror talk right now. And in me saying this to you guys, I am looking dead in my own eyes and saying it to myself. You must transform your limiting beliefs. Nicole, you must transform these limiting beliefs. We talked about identifying your mindset. What is it that you truly want? Did anybody answer that question last week? Like, what is it that you truly want? Where is it that you want to be? What is it that you want to accomplish? Ultimately, what is the life that you actually want to live? And if you ask yourself those things, why are you not there now? You may not fully end up being there, but you can do the work now, which will help you get to that point sooner than if you don't do the work. Maybe you haven't done it, you haven't identified that because you haven't decided to let go to the old. Surrendering, like true surrendering, man, it is a very hard thing to do. Normally, I don't talk to y'all so much with my hands, but I'm bearing myself. Okay, I'm talking to you guys, but I'm also bearing myself at the same time because, like I said, I don't try to come into these conversations. I don't try to, communicate with people in spaces where I'm not like this is my real life. These are real challenges. These are real experiences that I have um, gone through multiple times before. I guess I didn't learn my lesson or whatever the case may be. Or maybe there was just more that needed to be learned because in interacting with people, when you learn things in the season of one person, if you continue to move forward beyond the experience with that one person, the next person is going to bring out something new that's just going to elevate you and take you to a higher level. Like, for real, for real. Okay, said, I agree with you. You said you can't worry about the small things. And while that is true, and it is a saying that we've heard 1,000 times again, Everybody cares about what everybody cares about. What impacts one person may not impact another person. What is significant to one person may not be significant to another person, but you can incorporate those experiences. You can incorporate that other person's perspective on the experience into the process of a mind reset, because you only think about and you only view things a certain way until someone else introduces another perspective. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, I never know that. If you're the type of person who is resistant to other people's opinions, perspectives, insights, whatever you want to call it, then yeah, it may take you longer because you're fighting to push that information out of your mind. You're like, no, like my dogs are so rude. I'm doing this for myself. It ain't got nothing to do with anybody else, but it does. Like there's no way that we can get away from that. So since we just were talking about limiting beliefs, like let's talk about where some limiting beliefs can actually come from. Because like I mentioned last week, my intention with this pre-game, if you will, before we really get into the mind reset, because we haven't even started that. This last week's episode and this episode is just to get your mind thinking about the ways in which, if you want to do a mind reset, what would cause you to possibly be unsuccessful in achieving not only the mind reset, but what you're looking to gain on the other side as well. So, one of the primary things that we all, in some way, shape, or form, have experienced is fear. The feeling of being afraid to begin again. You can never start over. Once you start something, it started. Whether it gets finished or it doesn't get finished, it started. And then depending on how long you're engaging with it or engaging in it, it's still going on. So once it gets to the point of, as Robert Madu, Pastor Madu calls it, being a necessary ending, you have a new beginning. But it's just the beginning. It's not starting over. I'm very big on the way people coin phrases and the terms that they choose to use. For me, in where I am within my self work and how I work with my clients in my coaching space, and then also like how I assist my friends, when they trust me in what they're going through. Nah, fam, you can't start over. Because what's done is done. It's a part of your story. It's a part of who you are. It doesn't have to be the defining thing. It doesn't have to be the ball and chain that you carry with you. It doesn't have to be the thing that keeps you afraid from moving forward in space by space. But we all suffer from fear. In my recent experiences, there's been quite a lot of fear. The primary one was like, okay, like God in some of these relationships, like, this is family, like for real family. I'm afraid of how this relationship not necessarily is going to look, but go. Sorry. Not just how is it going to look, but is it even going to continue to be around? I don't want to lose any of my family while they're still here on this earth. I ultimately don't want to lose any of my family, period. But the Lord has greater plans than I do, and I respect that. But if there is a situation or experience that goes on that causes us not to talk, not to love one another, not to be around each other, like that's a loss. Lord, these are family relationships. Lord, one of these relationships is from the child that you gave to me. And I really got to do all this with that relationship, but I do. And honestly, being on the other side of like that moment of fear when I surrendered, because I have truly, 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 truly surrendered. I surrender all. Y'all know that song. Once I did, I feel like the perspective of my full life was put into the forefront of my vision for the future. And honestly, I still haven't been able to find the words to describe it. Like it truly is indescribable. But to be on the other side of what I experienced before, being fearful, being afraid, being apprehensive, um, thinking that, certain things and certain experiences that I really wanted, like they just weren't going to be a part of my life. Like getting past that level of fear, it is only by God's grace that I did. And that's true and that's genuine. Because I still have situations, I still have people that try to, pull back into that familiar chaos. And I'm just like, man, bump y'all. Like, that ain't my assignment. And honestly, if you need something to tell yourself to shift your focus when you enter into this space of this mind reset, sorry, that's what I say. That's not my assignment. That's not my focus. That's not what I'm supposed to be worried about. That's not what I'm supposed to be concerned about. Like, they're good. Lord, I still pray for them. I still want your best for them. Keep them safe. I pray for a hedge of protection around them and their family and, wherever it is that you call them to go to. But that ain't my assignment. If we have been put in a space where I've moved past not only the experience, but the fear of also losing those people, okay, cool. Another limiting belief, um, I've had it from time to time. I wouldn't say it's consistently a part of who I am. Like maybe so, because it falls into that category of like just the things I didn't grow up, necessarily being concerned with to a certain extent. I lived life, did what I did was who I am, and yeah, I was cool with that. But another limiting belief that you might need to unlock and let come to the surface in this preparation for your mind reset is lack of self esteem. Self esteem is the way that you look at yourself. It's the way you feel about yourself. It's the way you carry yourself. It's the way you envision yourself. It's who you feel you are despite anything else, despite any experience, despite what anybody else says, despite what anybody else does. Who are you at your core when you look in the mirror? This mirror work I keep telling y'all I'm apprehensive about doing. Um, who do you see? Who do you want to see? And if the math ain't math and where they're one and the same, hey, get out your pen, or I mean your pencil and your paper, graphing calculator if you need it. Let's build that. That's a part of the mind reset. Another limiting belief to explore is maybe there's a possible belief that you'll fail, that if you try something, you won't succeed, that if you extend yourself, you won't be received, that if you do something different or you're called to something different, that people see you as weird or crazy or whatever other people you feel other people may see you as. But that's the whole part of taking chances. But when you take those chances, are you taking the chances for yourself or are you taking those chances for the benefit of someone else? Because that's a real question to ask. And the mind reset, your mind reset has to be your own. It can't be for anyone else because the people in your life they change. The seasons in your life change. The reasons in your life change. But if you are in the place similar to where I am and you're looking to explore a mind reset, your mind is yours, it's not anyone else's. Your mind can be influenced, your mind can be changed, your mind can be altered. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision for any changes to occur. You have to make a decision for any alterations to occur. But why are you wanting to make those alterations? And in making those changes and those alterations, are those changes and alterations ultimately going against who you are and where it is that you're going? These are all questions to dive into in the mind reset that we'll get started with next week. And then also there may be a belief that failure is permanent, that if you do something and you fail, this is the best that it is. This is the best that you can give. This is the best that life is going to throw your way. BS, it's not. That's a limiting belief. For me, the God I serve says I can do anything. I can do all things through him because he gives me strength. There are plenty of things in, my past that I haven't necessarily been successful at. Some of them I know why I haven't been successful because one, I had limiting beliefs. Two, I had a fear of failure. Um, Three, I procrastinated. Like just being all the way honest and all the way real. Like I know in certain areas what I'm capable of, but sometimes being good in certain areas doesn't promote the level of effort that I need to be having in having that to do whatever it is. And then also, one thing that really kills me is I try to do it all at the same time. Like, it's the type of thing where, okay, so I'm creative, right? But I have a limiting belief of how I see my creativity because I look at it from the perspective of other people. Um, I'm an okay artist, meaning I can draw a little bit, but that's not my forte. I used to be better at it when I was younger than I am now. You don't use it, you lose it. Any kids out there listening, trust and believe. Um, but because I've had limiting beliefs about my creative style, it has not put me in a space to push myself in the areas where I am, in fact, creative. My creativity lies in the things that I could create with my hands physically and my mind because I don't think like other people. That's the whole premise of my baking business, Cake Doubles. This is not a shameless plug. This is literally me telling you like how my process works. I don't look at anything the same way someone else does. So Cake Doubles, the premise is it is a home baked goods company that I take the desserts you grew up eating, like peach cobbler, banana pudding, tiramisu. That's them bougie people. But I took the desserts that people grew up eating, the traditional desserts, deconstructed the flavor profiles, and re-put it together in two new forms of an actual cupcake and cake in a jar. So the same bite that you remember, like for me, my grandmother taught me how to bake. Before I was knee high to a grasshopper, I had to get up on that stool. Hey, started making this nasty cinnamon bread or something. It was terrible, but that was the catalyst for Cake Doubles now. And so me thinking like that, I did research. There aren't very many companies, if any, other than mine, that have that necessary push. They keep everything traditional. If you get a pecan pie, you might be able to get a regular size 9-inch pecan pie, and then you might be able to get the mini one. No, I want to give you the regular one, the mini one, the pecan pie cupcake, the pecan pie cake in a jar, pecan pie push pop. Like, that's how my mind works. But sometimes my mind can work against me because I have all of these concepts. And I'm like, okay, because I have all of these concepts, I want to do them all at the same time. Well, in trying to do them all at the same time, Nicole, you ain't got the money to support that because you are a startup. Get consistent business first, and then you can introduce the other applications to the same thing. But I digress. But that gives you still a little bit of insight. Like, my fear with that was I would fail because I couldn't do it all at the same time. Being able to do it all at the same time means I should get more revenue. No, because that's double, triple, quadruple the supplies. Then you have the other packaging that goes with it. I began to work against myself. But in listening to myself, in listening to the perspective of other people that have been around me when it comes to my business ventures, like, I had to get to a place where I started to listen for the actual fear that is holding me back, and I had to make note of it. What that means is, why am I telling myself because you can't do it all, you're going to fail? It won't be successful. You can do one of them to start out and you could be successful. So that here, I had to identify it to begin to work and turn it around. In my own personal life, I've always been a giver. That's just who I am. I am a giver. I am an empath. I am a Pisces. I am, some people would say, screwed, because I just, that's just who I am. Okay. So before now, especially in romantic spaces, and even with my daughter, I've given and given and given and given and given. That now the bank is no longer open for withdrawals. We take deposits. We still do deposits, but the bank is no longer open for withdrawals. And that is an executive decision that I had to make for myself in order to begin to set some boundaries and to, like, personalize things, to be able to understand this ain't because of nobody else. That person didn't tell me I had to give. That person didn't ask me to do that, even though I did it. This was me. And until I sat down and was like, why am I just wanting to give, 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 give? It goes back to that abandonment issue. My abandonment issue, if you haven't been watching any of my past conversations, it started and it stems from my dad's absence in my life. There is a video, uh, I don't know how many back it is, but you can go back and find it, and it talks about all of this. But the interesting part for me, before I really started to get into therapy, was I was able to identify that my abandonment started in the space of my dad's absence in my life, but then it transformed and became more prevalent in my romantic spaces. Like, I ain't out here trying to date my dad. Like, that just, that was never it. But I couldn't understand how it transformed. Why did it start in one space of family, like the parental aspect, but then here it is with me and a significant other? It's just like, yeah, that's all kinds of crazy. So I had to get into therapy. Shout out to my therapist, Dr. Pons. You look forward. Well, I can't even recommend him because he's not gonna do it anymore. But anyways, like, what it identified to me was I had to change my thinking. And when I decided to change my thinking, I did as much as I could on my own. But I knew that I could not do it alone. Yes, I prayed to the Lord and stuff like that. But I'm like, God, I need somebody here on earth that I can trust, that you done sent to me, that will help me work through these challenges. Lo and behold, my therapist. And one way that my therapist, um, his therapeutical approach is cognitive behavioral therapy. And what this is, because I had to look it up, so I'm going to read it. It says this is a psychotherapeutic technique used to change the way people think and view themselves to eradicate maladaptive thoughts and behaviors. So this ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. No one else. CBT is about me and me alone. Hence the mirror work. Hence why I kind of don't really feel comfortable doing it yet. I see myself, I see my changes, and I'm embracing my changes and I'm making them law. But those changes were made from the catalyst of other people. So maybe what I will challenge myself to do and for you to do before we get into this journey of the mind reset is to look at the list of negative thoughts and beliefs and use cognitive reconstructing to challenge them. Look at the list of negative thoughts and beliefs and use cognitive restructuring, to challenge them. If you're fearful of something, identify the fear, why you're fearful, and what you can do to change it. I actually have a worksheet that I created for this very thing. I will put the link in here after the discussion. But I called it overcoming mind traps because it's like when you are going down the road of your mind, your thought, your experience that you're focusing on, it's like a journey down a highway. Maybe you're going up Highway 75 in your mind. I don't know. Or going down Highway 75, depending on where you're coming from. That's a Texas reference. I'm sorry. But when you're going up and down the highway, what do police officers set? They set speed traps because they're trying to catch people who are speeding. They end up pulling them over and giving them a ticket. I've been in a speed trap before. But for the analogy of our mind, it's more so overcoming mind traps because you can be going along and you can see this thing in your mind. Oh, well, I wasn't as successful in that relationship because I'm now divorced. Mind trap has me. Am I going to stay in this mind trap? To me, a mind trap is like a prison. No way out, no walls, no light, no nothing. No, I'm not doing none of that. We finna get out this mind trap. And the way to get out the mind trap is to go deeper into the mind trap to be able to come up out the mind trap. So like I said, I'll put that in here, and it's a really good tool to be able to use, especially if you are engaging with other people. Let's say it's an argument or something like that. Like that could be an item that you use as like kind of a timeout or a cooling off tool where it's just like, all right, because it makes you look at the perspective of everything. What happened? Who did it happen with? How did it make you feel? What would you need? What would you have needed differently to overcome that situation or to not experience the situation in the same way? So when it comes to thought challenging, how realistic are the thoughts? How realistic are your fears? Would they really come true? Back when I told you in my past experience of moving on, yes, I didn't think that I would ever get to this place of my happiness, of my peace, of me formulating my life how I wanted to be formulated. I didn't think to some degree that I would get to this point. So was my fear true? No, I was fearful of the changes that were coming because I could sense them, like my spidey sense was tingling, but I didn't really know what they were going to look like. I didn't know what the impact was going to be. I didn't know who was and who wasn't going to continue to be around. And I'm not the type of person, it's not my preference to live my life alone. I ain't saying I always got to be with somebody, but I know me in that regard. It's not my preference to be alone. And The fear had me operating in spaces of trying to just reach out to anybody and everybody, to engage anybody and everybody to a certain extent, to try to overextend myself. Hey, I'm available, I'm here. But that goes back to that abandonment. I need some, this is my thought process then. I need somebody to see me. But how can I need somebody to see me and I'm not even willing to look at and see myself? Okay, I need to challenge this thing. I need to see myself. And then what I would say about those fears of those situations, like, is it true? No, Nicole, let's say it. You felt it, like, let's say it. Okay, I'm be alone for the rest of my life. Lies. I got other people, you know what I'm saying, who make my life good, who I enjoy spending time with, who I enjoy having conversations with, who enjoy having conversations with me. Like, I know we're all older and our lives look different and stuff like that, but yeah, we're like Dion Cole said, I watched this thing today. We're all expiring. Like, when you look at life from the perspective of that, not that you got so much life to live, but from the moment you're born, you're already expiring, meaning you're already closer to ceasing to exist than when you were coming into this world. That hits differently for me. I don't know about y'all, but that hits differently for me because that put me into the mindset that I had to disprove any limiting beliefs, any limiting anything, any fears, anything that goes against what I feel is the natural order of my life. Looking at the amount of time that's already been spent and the amount of time that is possibly left, because I don't know what's left. We can get off this conversation and I can go tomorrow, but I'm gonna live today to the best of my ability, seeking His best for me. Like, and one of the things that helped me to be able to change that around is I started doing positive affirmations. I had to get comfortable with listening to someone else say them. Now I have my own. Um, and actually, I'll be releasing my YouTube channel here soon. But self talk is important. Self work is important. Self love is important. Self esteem is important. Self worth is important. Self anything is all that matters. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Shantae Nicole, I'm coming. I got my designs. But it's true. Like, I this is the first season of my life where I've committed to a sense of self anything for Nicole LaTreece. And this is 3 years in the making. And I'm 40. Man, like, I'm happy to be here, but I wish I would have been here a long time ago. I wish I would have been able to hear somebody say this message to me at, I don't know, 22. Like, when life really, really started life for me. I'm talking about beyond college. Like, yeah, I wish I would have been able to hear somebody say that self anything is all that matters. And that's, I guess I have to put a disclaimer out there. That's not absolving myself from being concerned with other people. That is the way that I can balance not over my natural nature of not overextending myself into other people's mess. If you want me to help, I'm here. If you want me to listen, I'm here. If you want me to mind my business, okay, don't bring your business to me. That's how I'll mind my business. But once I am exposed to you and once I care about you, it is very difficult for me not to be concerned about you, who you are, where you're going, what it is that you want to do. Like, I want people to live an elevated life. And I want them to do that on purpose. Like, yeah, I'm feeling something right now when I think about, just the people that are in my life that I really do care about, and just genuinely wanting the best for them and naturally pushing them beyond what they thought that they could do. Like, literally, I'm not pushing you to my perspective of what I think you can do. I'm pushing you beyond the perspective of what you told me that you can or can't do. One, can't should never be in a man's vocabulary. Go back and watch Love and Basketball. Two, if you don't succeed at something, that doesn't mean you failed. If it's something that you genuinely want in your life, then you have to figure out a new plan in two ways. The first way is that something that should be in your life at all? And the second way is, if it is something that you feel is in the benefit of your life as a whole, what can you do now knowing that it didn't go the way you wanted to the first time? But if you think you can, then you will. I just want to thank everybody who joined me tonight. Said thank you for joining in on the conversation. To my IG people, I got my girl Shantae. Ebby, thanks for joining me. JC, I miss you. We need to link up. I got a new number. I'll have to text you. Kelly, hey, it's been a minute. I hope all is well your way, Mr. Fresh Ideas. I know you out and about in the city making things happen. Wax that Johnny Bell. What is going on, my G? Yes. And then Wood, yeah. I love all of y'all. Y'all have all impacted my life in one way or another, whether it was when I was in childhood or now into an adult or any of the spaces in between. Y'all are all amazing. I love each and every one of y'all. I hope y'all come back and join me next Sunday, where we are officially starting the mind reset. It's time for us to let go of the old, including the old you and the negative beliefs, any trauma from your past experiences. And let's use this mind reset series as an opportunity to say, I'm throwing a leaving party for the old me and mark the end of what's before, and to celebrate what it is that we're coming into. Thank you guys for joining me. Please, 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 if you found any insight, if you felt like this conversation was a good one for you or someone else, please, please share it, like it. You can follow me on all of my platforms. It's Nicole LaTreece on Facebook, and then Nicole underscore LaTreece on IG, and then on YouTube, it is forever Nicole LaTreece. Thank you all again. I look forward to seeing y'all next Sunday. And as always, please, please, please make sure that y'all are looking forward to living a good life filled with real love and all of the above. So until next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 p.m., right here with your girl on the sofa. Somebody want to join me? Like, yeah, let's connect throughout the week. Let's figure out how we can incorporate you into this mind reset process. And yeah, just give new perspective to the people that are joining me. All right, y'all have a good evening. I'm about to go eat. I hope y'all do the same. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week.